Yeah.
All right. I think we have quite a few people with us now. So, Antonio, thank you so much for taking out the time to give us this lightning talk. We'll hand it over to you. Please, the stage is yours.
Okay, so guys, hi, Antonio here from Big Market. I'm going to share my application window. So it's screen. Just tell me, is this working? This is a presentation deck that we did for one venture builder, actually. Big Market came in as an idea sometimes in November when my partner and I started thinking, my partner Mike is here on the call, started thinking like, what could we do? And we actually started tinkering around SUI. But Mike has a very deep experience building on Bitcoin and building with stacks. And this is how we met all the way back in 2017, 18. And actually it was on one of the first and early Blockstack events, right? Back in the day, Michael and I, and let me now just skip from this slide. It is a big market presentation, but let me introduce us. We started building one of the first NFT marketplaces on Bitcoin for recording provenance. That product was featured in the product hunt. We actually even went to Switzerland to present it in front of investor. We even got like a verbal commitment from investor, and then the crypto winter came and nothing came out of that project. This was pre-OpenSea. So I think if we have stood up to the test of crypto winter, I think today we would, who knows where we will be, but that's a nice story to hear. Today we are here to talk about the big market. So big market started as an idea, let's build something on SUI, but because of the all experience and Mike's experience, we say like, let's give it one more try on stacks. Why? Small community, easier access the community, easier to get in front of the Stacks Foundation and all of the decision makers. And I can confirm that after 4 months of building the big market into the product that it is today, we did interface with the Stacks Foundation. Today, the team is accepted in their Stacks Accent programs, which provides like direct grants to developers, and they're not small. They're like $25,000 per person, right? And they have a very structured, nicely done platform that allow people to grow into the role of developers. So if anybody is looking into earning money on Stacks, this is one way to get into. Also, you need to get invited. An invitation means usually showing some kind of performance in terms of the product or some kind of other things that people can notice you. So Mike is currently here with us on the call. He is from UK. Antonia is one of our partners also that is going to be starting work on the platform. She's a PhD, same as Mike from Chinese Academy of Art. So we plan to upgrade big market significantly. What you see today is not going to how it's going to look like. And hi, I'm Antonio, originally from Croatia, doing tech for last 20 years. What can I say about myself? Went into the corporate of technology sometimes around 2009. We had a very successful e-commerce startup in Europe. We scaled it from 1 European country to 14 European countries, $15 million of investment. We sold that company, so that was the exit number one. I was living in Berlin for 10 years. There we have built like a closed LinkedIn type of company for connecting expert knowledge with VCs, private banks, hedge funds. That company also got sold for 110 million pounds. I was not part of that group when that happened because at that point I was just like bored with all of the corporates and went into the esports. So my background also last 7 years is big in esports, gaming, I started building competition platform for games, but then I quickly understood like organizing competition for video games. It's like 2x multiplier because it's a service business. Then I started doing like a team business, and I did a lot of success in Counter-Strike, where we put a team together after 18 months with the number 8 on the world. I sold the team to a very influential investor from United States, and then it went on and it went on. So that's the team behind the big market. And why did we start working on the big market? 2 things. I love the poly market idea about like, okay, you can actually predict the future, right? And the idea comes from the wisdom of crowds, something that they taught us as mechanics in MBA school. Like a lot of people, if they think and predict something or provide some kind of answer, that's most highly going to be the answer. So my incentive to build a big market was to try to build a DeFi application that predicts the future, right? And we had a different idea of when we started building the prediction market, because current markets, there's Kalshi and Poly market, and they're like taking 90% of the revenue. And we are talking here about 5-6 billion concentrated in the hands of like 2-3 teams. And we somehow wanted to disrupt that. And the idea was, let's build a prediction market that settles on the Bitcoin. And this is where the first problem came in. You can't settle on the Bitcoin. I mean, you could theoretically, because with the Bitcoin linking to the synthetic Bitcoin, which is innovation or like things that Stacks started, and with the Stacks that provides like smart contract engine, we wanted that anybody can, put a Bitcoin on any prediction market and get the Bitcoin out. And then that Bitcoin goes from Bitcoin to synthetic Bitcoin, and that we have the smart contracts and clarity. There was a lot of challenges around that. And there was a challenge that was not solved for quite some time. And at one point, Mike asked me like, okay, do we want to solve this challenge or connect the Solana to the platform? And somehow we chose that challenge. So Michael did resolve the challenge that actually now you can stake Bitcoin natively in the platform, and then the magic happens in behind. And the idea is like, you have this $500 trillion of Bitcoin that is locked, nobody is doing with it. So let's see if the Bitcoin would have its own DeFi use, how would that go? On top of that, our prediction platform also has an AI layer built in, because the idea is if Kalshi and Poly market are very US centric. So it's like a corporation that's just like thinking in a US sense of the way. What if we could build a prediction market that is user owned, and that AI can launch and resolve markets, and that people actually through AI DAOs, what AI BTC is doing, can participate on these markets automatically, and that AI can earn money for you as you participate on these markets. And somehow all of these things are implemented in our platform. So the idea is that you have high frequency markets. This opens up like a lot of use cases for insurance industry, for hedging industry, for financial industry. And then the idea is that these markets settle on their own with the help of their AI. And then there is always like a dispute window. If we don't like what AI said, we can always say, hey, guy, this is not going to work out. We dispute your decision because this did not happen. Like you say, this happened. And then there is a complete protocol built into the platform. So how the protocol is working? Well, it's working on a way that anybody can own the platform. The idea of the big market is that it has full autonomy. Markets can create itself. It has Bitcoin finality. Everything settles on Bitcoin. You cannot hack it like what it happens with Poly market. Then revenue, all of the money that goes into the platform is shared among the users that are owning the platform. The platform is full-fledged DAO, and it's going to be governed by a big token. And there are two ways how you can get the big token: buy it or earn it through the reputation. Anybody participating on the markets, resolving markets, creating markets, and being like just active on the platform, you build up your reputation, and then you exchange your reputation points for the governance token. You lost your reputation, of course, but then this is how we incentivize people to participate. And now, when you see here liquidity, there is one big wish I want to do with this platform. Like Poly market, no licenses, nothing. Everything is crypto on ramp and very minimum KYC. And yeah, you can use it with few cryptocurrencies. It's tedious, it's like scary. People need to know the wallets, the codes, like they need to send money to the Poly market to be able to use it and then withdraw the money. Here, what we want to do is like, we want to allow users to use our platform with any asset: meme coin, Bitcoin, synthetic Bitcoin, STX, Solana. And we want to remove the complexity of the wallet, right? And there is a way how we are going to do that. I'm not going to talk about it now, but there are new chains that actually allow you to remove all of these complexities from users and use the platform more like very native Web 2 way, but everything happens in behind the scenes with crypto and whatever crypto that you have, right? This is going to be unlocking massive liquidity for these type of prediction markets. Now, don't get me wrong. Somebody can say like predicting future isn't that same as betting. Yes, it is. So for this, we are definitely going to have a license, and we as a team are looking into direction of being licensed. Why now? A lot of Bitcoin and a lot of crypto sitting idle. We want to unlock this. 77% of the money from the VCs went into the AI. This is why this is very capable AI platform. You don't see it on the front end yet because there is a lot of complexities that we still need to test out, but AI is actually working. And then Polymarket proved the demand. And if we can capture 10% of their market share or even 1% and share this through the fee structure with users, I think we have reached our goal. In terms of where we sit, it sits in the intersection of online sports and events betting, right? Decentralized predictions, and then AI and predictive forecasting. So BigMarket is in the middle of these three markets. I don't want to bother you with these numbers. These are the huge numbers. Nobody can validate this, right? How are we building different? Alpha, built on Wire using APAP. Imagine this. There is a crypto, how would I say this? HTTP protocol for crypto. Can you imagine that crypto has HTTP protocol? We would not call crypto anymore crypto. It would be just internet. Same thing as we were talking about cyberspace. Then cyberspace became metaverse, and then metaverse became Web3. It's like all of these cryptic stuff. And at the end, it's just like, you know, a web page, an internet. This is where we want to push the big market for. And if you go to the VAR network, you're going to understand that there is like a level 1 blockchain, which is a core AI blockchain, which basically takes any type of asset and turns it into any type of asset without any complexity for users. This is where we are seeing moving with in terms of the future. It's DAO controlled. All of the fees are controlled by people. So whoever has a token will be able to vote and govern the platform. Anyone will be able to launch the platforms. Everything is on chain. Global first approach means that we are going to be licensing our platform, and we want to offer it to the big crypto markets. So it's very important that we can go to Pakistan, that we can go to India, that we can go to Japan, that we can go to all of the countries except US, very heavily regulated. And then even for Europe, we are now discussing and having internal discussions about acquiring a gaming license from Malta. 6 months process, quite some of money, right? But then again, we are going to be able to use this platform. As the Polymarket is a US-specific platform, we want to make this like EU-centric platform. So as Polymarket is launching prediction on CNN, why don't we do it on the Euronews, BBC, and Sky News, right? So, okay, this is where we are heading, and this is how serious our intentions are. In terms of the fees, there is a lot of fees on the platform. Platform fee, DAO fee, market creation fee, and all of these are configurable, and they can all be zero as far as I'm concerned. And we can take just money on the deposits or withdrawals. But currently, platform has to make money as a protocol because that money is distributed to you, users, right? There is 1% platform fee, which pays developers. Me, for example, and Meic. However, this is an open source project. Whoever contributes gets paid from that platform fee. And there is a whole mechanism already built in where anybody can join in, participate, and then whatever we earn, we are going to share. This is how it was envisioned. This platform was not envisioned for us to make money with. We are making money elsewhere. This is a platform which was envisioned as a utility for some of the products that we have, where we would like to see a prediction market built in. And if you go to our documents pages, you are going to see imagine a prediction markets for music that fund music projects, or imagine prediction market for politics that are funding political type of projects. This is why we are inviting everybody to participate. In terms of the roadmap, and we are quickly finished, we won the first place in DeFi category on the build battle. Then we won the second place overall. And this all goes attributed to Meic and his dedication of like, let's solve this bloody Bitcoin problem. And it was a big problem to solve. I don't know, did anybody solve it for the last 3 years? Currently, everything is live on the testnet. It looks like shit. This is my fault, because I am the one who is working on the front end, and I am the one who is being waited to upload all of them, do all of the GitHub commits. However, the platform will look quite different, like let's say a week from now, and we are onboarding testing community. And once when we extend the use case with allowing, enabling multi-chain approach, I hope more users will come, because I see Bitcoin finality and storing things on the Bitcoin. This is like premier exclusive chain. You can't go more than this, but then again, you need to make it very simple for users, right? And we recently started raising money for the platform. Why? We need the money for two things: incorporation in Switzerland, so that everything is legally handled through the Zug, it's a Zug association, because in Switzerland, they have laws that are protecting and people participating and people having the governance token. And then we want to go with the licensing. It's Anjouan license that covers a lot of 180 countries. Usually crypto projects do this. And then Malta license also for access to European markets. This is why we are raising money to put the platform out there, and that from this point on, whoever is participating, that they feel that this is a real product with real licensing, real team, that is determined, to do things by the book. So if you eventually want to work with think tanks, political organizations like journalists, sports betting bookers, and everything, that we have a legal wrapper around everything. This is why we are raising money. And I think we are close to achieving that goal, right? On top of this fundraise, once when we get all of these, let's say, things in order, there is going to be an IDO sale, no VCs, only community, 6 stages. It's your platform. Whoever owns the token will be able to manage the platform with the help of AI, because we want to achieve high frequency markets, not the static markets as they are currently on the Poly market and Kalshi, which is normal because they operate in a different type of setting and setup. And this is pretty much it, like why big markets matter. I mean, it's real-time truth machine or betting machine, right? So you can monetize your belief, meaning you bet, you get money out. Everything is anchored in a Bitcoin. Nobody can hack it. And more people use it, more liquidity, more people use it, more liquidity, more proceeds for everybody. And I think we can make it to some extent even fun. And that's it from myself. I hope that I didn't took too much time. Was my mic muted?
No, I'm just trying to absorb all the information that I recently just acquired, because I'm absolutely new to this. Prediction markets and everything.
A question more on the a question more on the content and the kind of material that you currently have on Big Market. I was going through it. A lot of it seems to be predictions around political events. Is that how you've created your community so far? Do you expect that to change?
It's a test. We expect a change. So if you ask me, it will be music, right? I come from the music I come from a different sorts of backgrounds. My main drive was when we started this platform to create a platform that's going to be allowing me to create prediction around music, which artist and which genre and which album is going to be trending first, number one, number two. Why? Because we are building also a music streaming platform in Web3. And one of the ideas is that the prediction part is embedded in the music streaming as a Spotify, because as I'm coming from the music industry background, I know that everything that you hear on Spotify, everything that you're fed with, every chart, everything is rigged. Nothing is real, right? So this is why I said, okay, let's embed and let's start working on this. So those are just test markets created by AI. We have given some inputs to our trained AI, and this is why they're repetitive and boring. Mike is now here connecting. Maybe he wants to add something to the story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you answered the question. I mean, basically, we're on testnet, and I think we've got two types of markets. You also, Antonio didn't mention, we've got an integration with Pyth, which is an on-chain Oracle. I'm sure you know. So we've got price-based prediction markets for kind of predicting crypto prices, and the other side is politics. But really, that's kind of our just where we're running things up to test the platform.
Yes. So things are in phase of development. However, we are closely coming into the position where, you know, we are looking into mainnet release. We want to wrap up the user interface so it's like very clean, intuitive, and that everybody can use it. We are going to open up a DAO token sale, and that's it. We are going to give it away to the community, and we are going to be using it for our purposes the same way as any of you can. How do I try this out on testnet? So basically, you go to the BigMarket.ai, you get some test tokens like SBTC, BTC, or stacks, and there are then markets where you can stake. You see what's your potential return and so on. So maybe even maybe even I can show it. Let me just try here. It's this platform here. It's BigMarket.ai, and please, it's ugly, and it's my job to make it nicer.
No, you're not showing that.
The Chrome profile.
It's just
Okay. Just a second. Stop share. Maybe I didn't click very well. BigMarket here. Share. Okay, so this is a big market. Currently, it's a bit slow to load. Maybe it's something blockchain related. Either way, this is the domain. I don't know why it's not loading. Any more questions? Eager to answer.
I couldn't quite understand how the AI part of it was fitting into it, and how AI is exactly being leveraged in BigMarket.
Mike, you can answer this for start. What we have currently and where we are aiming and where we are heading.
Yeah, so we have a kind of back-end integration at the moment that uses there's a service running in Python that uses the LLM agent tool chains. I can't remember the names of the libraries at the moment, but basically they connect to an LLM. I think we're using DeepSeek. So that, for example, one way we're using it is when you create a market, you can create a market by just feeding it an URL from a news story, and it will create a prompt that will go off and create a nice thing, fill out the whole form, and then create the market like that. The other way is to resolve markets using a sort of similar technique. So we allow the AI to decide how the market should resolve, and then if somebody's staking in that market, they can dispute the AI's resolution, so they can create a dispute process. Yeah, it's kind of following the AI BTC dev project, if you know that, Jason's project. If you know, I'm sure you know those guys. So we've kind of like shared some code with them. I was a contributor on that project for a while last year.
Cool. I mean, is it also a use case where let's say if you're going to choose an option, although it's a simple yes or no, you sort of either go for the prompt or you go against it, right? But is there a way in the future where, let's say, AI also helps you sort of, it gives you references which help you decide which way you want to go. Is that also something that you guys are considering?
You mean for the user, to help the user decide which category to pick?
Yeah.
I think that's a great suggestion. I think we'll take note of that. Yeah. So a kind of user prompt for thinking about how to vote on the market. That's a great idea. Yeah. I think that could be pretty easily integrated in some ways.
So the idea was that we have like a digital DAO, like AI DAO, where you have your AI agent. And so the DAO is your digital corporation and your agent is your little helper. And then you feed this agent with an information or how to participate and on what markets to participate, or you feed it what markets to run. And basically your agent can run the markets or something that you have trained this agent and that is your specialty, let's say in my case, music. And then all of the people who participate in these markets, I receive part of the revenue. So it's like my money-making machine, right? A small agent runs market daily, weekly, monthly, and whoever participate on those markets, like puts the money in, and the one who is running the markets and maintaining the markets gets the revenue from that work, right? So, it's that is the thing that we wanted to experiment with, actually.
Right. I have a couple of questions, but they take the discussion in a tangent, which is not very technical. So if any of the other folks over here have any questions, I'll let them, go first. Go ahead, Bilal.
Yeah, I guess I have a question. Do you guys see LLM bias as a problem in terms of like getting predictions for your users and in any way? Because even the choice of the LLM would introduce certain biases, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think LLM bias is a general problem. But in this case, you can kind of use it as a tool to just kind of bootstrap a market, and then you can edit it and refine the resolution. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. But,
also, like there are other LLMs that are decentralized, like what Eternal AI is doing, and they are uncensored. And there is a lot of them now out there. And the idea would be that you can use any of those through an API, connect it to the platform, and then, instruct it to do what it does. Yes, there is a bias in those LLMs, but these are the corporate ones that everybody's using. So for the people that want to go outside of the comfort zone and use something else, you can definitely have something that is uncensored and more fun, I would say.
Very, very interesting. My question was more on the music side of things, Antonio. And I couldn't help but think if there is an angle here to sort of use the music predictive markets to identify upcoming hits before they become hits.
I'm going to tell you one thing. So there is a reason why there are 2 breakout artists each year in Europe, right? And this is like label influence. They have a whole economy around it, and you can't have 10 breakout artists because it would be too much. Venues, concert, concentration, the money from the sponsorship, viewership, everything is like usually concentrated on 2. Then they have a half-life of 3 years, and then new people are coming, the people are going out. There is a reason why it took like Billie Eilish years to become what she is now, because she did amazing songs when she was like 15 and 16 and 17. And then it's not like labels did not notice her. They signed her at the right point when she's commercially viable to be exploited, right? So all through YouTube and Twitter do provide a tool to spot trending artists. It's like 5 minutes. And if you didn't notice it in a 5 minutes, something else is trending. So there is no record actually in terms of music, what was trending or not. And this way with prediction markets, it's like I stake my own money on it and I say, this is a good song and this is a good artist and this is a good playlist. So where that money comes from, usually comes from this ecosystem that an economy where we are creating this streaming app, which means like, if you do something for the ecosystem and the protocol on the protocol level, let's say you validate a certain metadata of the song and say like, this part of the song makes me feel I want to kill myself, right? And you put that in the database. This is like super important for us as a streaming platform. We get you a bit of the crypto tokens, and now you can stake them on the market and get rewards for it. So you are now doubling your reward, again, providing a valuable insight for an AI. And why I said this part of the song sounds like I want to kill myself, because I want to help. I am building an app, and we want to build an app that actually allows me to search music by feelings, not by artists and genres. I want to say, my girlfriend left me, I want to kill myself. Oh, here are tracks to kill yourself too, right? And I know that this is like maybe very extreme example, but very much people like it. And this is why I'm usually using this example, because currently you can come to Spotify and you can search for shit. You need to know an artist, you need to know an song. You can't say it's 5 of us, we like house and techno, but we're having a dinner and we would like to listen to Billie Eilish remixes, and we would then transition to A, B, and C. And then that app actually can understand, okay, this is your current listening scenario, and builds up the perfect playlist. Because when you take out the Spotify and you click, you like one song and you click radio style, like give me a list of the similar song, it's always the same list. And this is why they're using very old archaic system. And this is what we're changing. And this is where BigMarket fits into that other product that I started building with the team 2 years ago, and that hopefully will see the light of the day soon.
I have a follow-up question, because I think it's important for me to understand this part that I missed out. You mentioned that if I, as a user, add some metadata for a certain song, I'm adding value, of course, but how exactly am I staking that? Like how am I being incentivized to do that? I couldn't quite understand from a predictive market perspective.
Okay, divide 2 things. Within the app, traditional users comes and listens to music, right? And then you have advanced users, the Web3 users that know for, okay, let me just share the screen. It's going to be much easier if we have a second. This goes screens, which share, click here. So let's say this is a mixer app, right? From out, you see my screen, guys? From outside is a traditional streaming app. What you have is situational categories: wake up, go running, go working, go rest, etc., etc. When you go inside, and I don't want to now connect my phone to show you that, you have these mixes, and mixes are created for a specific listening scenario. On the level of the mix, you can leave comments, you can, do all sorts of things. But how are we creating those mixes is we have something which is like a quest screen. This is for Web3 users. You solve a quest, right? And you get tokens. Now, when you get tokens, you can use that tokens on a prediction markets. You can stake tokens on the song level. And this is when the song actually gets promoted on the system, because what we are trying to build with this one is a system where no label can influence what you're listening and hearing to. Why is this important? Because then we are allowing every artist to have the same access to the audience. If Spotify comes and say, no, we are just like pushing these 5 artists as they do, you don't get to listen 98% of other artists out there. Only the same music is being promoted. This is what we call like label payola, which means like you need to have a label, you need to pay the label that your music ends up in these playlists. So one way to earn tokens is by validating song metadata. And why is this important? Because each song during its lifeline can have a different it has like a different meaning. Michael Jackson today was not what was Michael Jackson 5 years ago. So you can keep adding metadata on any song level, and this is going to be then informing the AI algorithm. This is how you earn, and then you spend by staking and betting, or other mechanics that we have built into the app. I hope this answered the question. Always make it sound complicated.
There was a lot to unpack, and so I'm actually glad I asked that question because as you shared more of it, so I think it's a way to incentivize the audience which is going to be putting in that metadata, and it's very interesting. And I mean, just making sure that I understood this correctly, when we talk about staking, it actually means that whatever data that you're storing on the blockchain for a certain music record, that those tokens essentially take a part in that. Essentially, I'm assuming obviously that's, so I'm just trying
exactly. So the idea of the music app is not to store music on the blockchain. You cannot, this is like why Audius failed. This is like Tune FM will never succeed, right? We have 43 million tracks in our database, traditional all music, Madonna, Michael Jackson, Billie Eilish, everybody, Taylor Swift. You can't put this music on chain, right? This is somebody's property. It's not ours property. What you're actually recording on chain in a zero knowledge environment is all of the user interactions. So once when you see something, you can figure out why you see it. Why is this song recommended to me? And then you're going to have this provenance that actually proves that nobody influenced what you're listening. And this is what's important, and for end user and for artists. So that for the first time, you're going to have the best music discovery service out there.
It's very, very interesting. And also sort of the discussion sort of shifts from BigMarket to the Mixer product that you have. But I'm assuming that there's probably in the overall vision some kind of a leaderboard as well for the Web 3.0 folks out there whom you would need to be putting in that metadata. So it probably isn't just about being able to stake. Obviously, that's important, and being able to earn tokens, but to also be, let's say, maybe in the top 50 or top 20. I don't know, but we could call it a name, metadata.
I mean, leaderboards are part of any gamified system. Mike and I built them day one into the BigMarket. So imagine like BigMarket is more than a platform. It's a protocol for a truth discovery, right? Yeah, if we say who is going to be better, Aston Villa or Manchester United, comes down to betting, right? But this is a very superficial way of looking at what the prediction markets can do. This can be much more than it. So in terms of the leaderboards, yes, there are leaderboards in a Mixer app, and there are leaderboards in a BigMarket as well, because everything comes down to how do you design your token economy. And this is very difficult assignment. This is the assignment where you can approach it. Okay, let's just think about deflationary and inflationary mechanisms, and let's create a system where, well, demand is bigger than supply, and eventually tokens should go up, right? It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. You need to have much, much more in terms of these sinkholes, mechanisms, what users can do and how they're doing it. But in the meantime, the challenge with everything is you don't want to have a bloody pop-up all the time popping up, click here, confirm this, confirm that. So that's the challenge with the Web3. And you need to find the balance, what we are now struggling with, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, another layer in all of this is that you're creating an incentive engine as well for people to actually add metadata. And that in itself as so BigMarket is one component in the overall scheme of things, right? Likewise, this particular engine that you just talked about, although it's going to be directly used for the Mixer platform, but in itself, it's quite powerful as a concept. Can be used anywhere.
Yeah, it's quite powerful. The idea of ours is that the point is this is an open platform governed by users. You hold governance tokens. Yeah, you can then plug into API and use that data across any type of product you might have. This can be the ERP system that actually is drawing data, and this can be ERP system that is something for the shipping industry that can predict where the next, congestions are going to be, or attacks based on the political answers. There is all sorts of things then that this AI underlining layer can provide signals outside of just like, okay, let's predict, is this going to happen versus this going to happen? Because once when you create this collective intelligence layer, it's about the developers to figure out the use cases on top of that data. We are going to be providing this data.
Very interesting. Yeah. And I think the overall vision, in like the broader vision itself, that seems very exciting because multiple pieces seem to be falling together into this, bigger objective, which is very cool.
You're correct. There is one important thing to all of this, and this is like users. These platforms worth nothing without users, right? So we hope that by allowing any users to participate on a way that is uncensored, tampered proof, you can't hack it, and you can create any type of marketplace. Now, of course, we need to be thinking about ethical side of things. Will Elon Musk be shot like 2 months down the line? It's not a question, or it's an ethical thing. You don't want to have these things on the platform. We are creating self-governing mechanisms, to somehow prevent the platform to be abused on this way. But then again, it's a legitimate question. Who am I to say, like, who wants to know or doesn't want to know? And we'll have to strike that fine balance. But we just want to be free from corporations, and we want to have a world outlook. So if you go to the big market, very bottom, you're going to see that we have embedded like currency converter for already more than 20 currencies. And the idea is that this is translated to every possible imaginable language. Japanese, I don't know, Indonesian, German, French, so that anybody can create these markets, that anybody can participate on any language. And this is why the AI is so important, because even if the prediction is created on French, you can read it on your own language. So when you click on your language, everything is going to be on your language, 99% accurate, regardless of where it's happening. And this is now the challenge that we have. Okay, if you're not looking at the US and only like what Polymarket has around 100 active markets, and if you want to go to 10,000 active markets, how do you filter them? How do you present them? What is the AI used for? And then there is like a lot of things that we still don't have full answer to, but we are coming there.
I think everything that you shared, Antonio, is like much to learn there, a lot to learn actually. So thank you for sharing all of that. We have a few more folks over here still with us. If anybody has any questions, please go ahead. All right. Antonio, once again, thank you so much for taking the time out and for sharing your experience. It was wonderful talking to you. And Meic, to you as well. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Take
Pleasure
care.
to be here.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.